Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a really quick and simple way to dry your herbs from the garden. And to do this, we're going to be using the air fryer, which is pretty much just a small conventional oven that you can dry your herbs in. I've only used this method a few times, but it seems to be working pretty well for me. So I thought I would share it with you all if you happen to have an air fryer. But there are so many different ways to dry herbs, like using the oven or just air drying them. But in a subtropical climate like Brisbane, where I live, it is really challenging to dry herbs just because the humidity outside is so high. But this morning I'm going to go around alongside all of the cicadas and the crickets and go and pick some basil, oregano and sage. And then I'm going to take them inside and show you the really simple way how to dry them in the air fryer. So I really hope you enjoy this video and let me know if you do try out this method. One thing that you do just want to keep in mind when you're picking your herbs is to just pick longer stems of them, like this oregano here. Unless the herb is a really small herb, that's no worries, but you want to be cutting your herbs all around the same kind of length, and this is important for when we put them in the air fryer. Alright, so I've got my big beautiful basket of herbs here. I ended up picking some sage, basil and oregano. I have so much oregano that is just spilling over the pathways in this garden, so it definitely needs to be preserved. And the best time to harvest your herbs, or kind of any greens really, is the first thing in the morning. It's when the plant is least stressed and all of the different vitamins and nutrients and the taste is going to be better at that time. So I'm going to take all of these upstairs. What I'm going to be firstly doing with them is just giving them a really good rinse and then pat dry to take off as much moisture as I can, just using a tea towel, and then they're going to be ready for the air fryer. So once you have dried your herbs after you've just given them a little bit of a rinse, you want to take the bottom leaves off of all of the stalks that you picked and just tie some twine around it. I'm just using some jute twine and then I'm going to be putting them into the air fryer. This is the air fryer that we have, or that Scott's parents have, but I'm sure you could use any air fryer. The temperatures might differ a little bit. But for the oregano, I'm just putting it in and then I'm putting something to weigh it down, because when you put things in the air fryer, if it's really light, it's going to just fly around and create a really big mess. So I just put a spoon at the bottom to weigh all of the herbs down. You do just want to make sure that when you're touching them and opening this up, anything that you put in there is going to be incredibly hot. I'm putting this around 100 degrees Celsius for oregano because the leaves are a little bit thinner than some of the other leaves. And I'm just checking it every 30 seconds to make sure that the temperature is right and that the leaves aren't burning. If the leaves are burning straight away, then the temperature is too high and you just want to adjust according to your air fryer and whatever herbs you're drying. But I found about 100 degrees Celsius for the oregano went really well, and this took about 7 minutes to dry these. And this method is really great because you don't have to fully dry the herbs. You can semi-dry them to store in the fridge, or just keep it going for a little bit longer to fully dry them like I tried to do. Next was the sage, and I'm just popping the temperature up a little bit for the sage just because the leaves are a little bit thicker. There's a little bit more moisture in this plant and it took a little bit longer. These dried really well and again took about 7 minutes or so. And same with the basil, I just kept it at 120 degrees Celsius. Again, it was about 7 minutes or so to dry these. And I just did a small batch of these 3 different herbs and then mixed them all together to kind of create like an Italian herb mix. It was super delicious, and you could keep doing larger batches of these to create a lot more dried herbs or however much you'd like. And then to store them, all I did was just crunch up the leaves into a mortar and pestle, and I crushed them up a little bit just to the desired consistency that I wanted to use, and then just stored them in a jar, and they'll keep for a few months depending on how well you dried them. If you've semi-dried them, I'd probably recommend storing them in the fridge or freezer, but we've been using these a lot, so they will go quickly in our household. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you try drying herbs with an air fryer, or if you've tried to dry anything else in the garden with your air fryer. They're really handy to have, and they don't take up a lot of space, particularly if you don't have a well-functioning oven and you just need to bulk dry a lot of herbs or anything from the garden. The air fryer can be a really good option. So thank you so much for watching this video, and until my next one, happy gardening everyone. Bye!